Okay, this is a video going over the Explore the Physics of Heat assignment. So we're going to go over the actual physics of what makes heat heat. How do we get what we call heat, the energy that we've been going over for the last couple assignments here. So in this task, you will read the text below, one section at a time, and write down the main idea for each passage in your ELA, or you can use your science notebook. You can watch this video, and you're probably already doing that, and it goes over this entire assignment. I read this for you, and I read the bottom part so that if you're struggling with reading, I need you to follow along with me. Remember, we're reading this 3 times. You need to read the text for a second time after you listen to me read it, or you can re-listen to me read it, but it needs to have a second time that you read it, and you need to write down any term, any word, like maybe joules. These aren't joules that you wear. So maybe write down joules, and the definition is a way of measuring heat, right? Heat can be measured in joules. So joules, BTU, or calories are all different ways of measuring heat. Okay, so the third read, we're going to read the passage again and write down important key details that support the main ideas. Then we're going to answer the question, how does heat move? And we must use the ACE-constructed response, okay, and the Hawk Talk cards. At least 3 sentences to answer this question. Green, yellow, red. Then you're going to post the answer to the assignment submission. It must be typed. No photos. It has to be typed, or I will not grade it. Let's take a look at the physics for kids, science of heat. So heat is the transfer of energy from one object to another due to a difference in temperature. Heat can be measured in joules, BTUs, or British thermal unit, or calories like we eat. Heat and temperature are closely related, but they are not the same. The temperature of an object is determined, okay, by how fast its molecules are moving. The faster the molecules are moving, the higher the temperature. We say objects that have a high temperature are hot, and objects with a low temperature are cold. Next section, transferring heat. When 2 items are combined or touching each other, their molecules will transfer energy called heat. They will try to come to a point where they both have the same temperature. This is called equilibrium. Equilibrium, and if you can say it with me 3 times, equilibrium, equilibrium, equilibrium. You need to write that down in your journal. That is an important word. You don't know it, I guaranteed it. Write it down, okay? And the definition is they will try to come to a point where they both have the same temperature. So it's literally equilibrium is it trying to equal or balance itself out. Please write down that term. Now you can pause and give yourself some time to write it down, then press play when you're ready. I'm assuming you're ready because you've pressed play. Heat will flow from the hotter object to the colder. The molecules in the hotter object will slow down, and the molecules in the colder object will speed up. Eventually, they will get to a point where they have the same temperature. This happens all the time around you. For example, when you take an ice cube and put it into a warm soda, the ice cube will become warmer and melt, while the soda will cool down. Hot objects expand. When something gets hotter, it will expand or get bigger. At the same time, when something gets colder, it will shrink. This property is used to make mercury thermometers. The line in the thermometer is actually liquid mercury. As the liquid gets hotter, it will expand and rise in the thermometer to show a higher temperature. It is the expansion and contraction due to temperature that allows the thermometer to work. And thermometer is literally a thermo, meaning heat, meter. Heat conduction. When the heat transfers, and you might write down conduction, that might be something worthwhile for your terms in your notes. When heat transfers from one object to another, this is called conduction. That way you can also write down the definition here. It might be on our assessment. Some materials conduct heat better than others. Metal, for example, is a good conductor of heat. We use metal in pots and pans to cook because it will move the heat from the flame to our food quickly. Cloth, like a blanket, isn't a good conductor of heat. So conductor is something that produces conduction or allows for conduction to happen. Because it is not a good conductor, a blanket works well to keep us warm at night, as it won't conduct the heat from our bodies into the cold air. So it's not going to suck up our heat and push it out. It's going to keep it in. Matter changing state. Heat has an impact on the state of matter. Matter can change state based on heat or temperature. There are 3 states that matter can take depending on its temperature: solid, liquid, and gas. For example, if water is cold and its molecules are moving very slow, it will be a solid ice. If it warms up some, the ice will melt and water becomes a liquid. If you add a lot of heat to water, the molecules will move very fast and it will become a gas or steam. So I want you to go through and listen to this video again. Pause when you hear a term that you don't know. Try to search for the term being defined in the passage like I showed you before. And make sure to answer the question, how does heat move? Remember, we just read about transferring heat, that's the movement of heat, and heat conduction, that's another way that heat moves. So you have 2 things that you can write about. Make sure to use your Hawk Talk cards, and again, if you want to listen to this again, go for it.